the angle formed between the horizontal so horizontal right here is what they're talking about, okay, and the line from the object to the observer's eye. Which we call the line of sight. So that's angle of elevation. So, a person is standing 800 meters away from the base of a Chrysler building. So you have to draw a picture for each of these, right? So we have a person. They are standing 800 meters away from the base of the Chrysler building in New York. The angle of elevation to look up to the top of the building, so here's the building, line of sight, the angle of elevation to look up to the top of the building is 21.8 degrees. How tall is the building? Okay, and here's our 90-degree angle, right? So are we finding a side length or are we finding an angle measure? A side length. So would we use regular trig functions or inverse trig functions? So, like before, we're going off of this angle. 800 is what compared to that angle? Adjacent. X is what compared to that angle? Opposite. Which one uses O and A? So it's tangent of how much? Is equal to what over what? Put this over 1, cross multiply, right? So I get X is equal to 800 times the tangent of 21.8. What does X equal? Yeah. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. That would actually round up. Questions on that one? Okay, let's do the next one together. A ramp is 120 feet long and rises vertically 15 feet. The angle of find the angle of elevation to the ramp. Okay, so we have a ramp. So we have the ground, right? And then we have a ramp. It rises to a certain point. It rises vertically 15 feet. So where would I put that 15 feet? Yep. Here's my 90-degree angle. Then it also tells us 120 feet long. Where would that go? Hypotenuse, because that's the ramp length. The ramp is being lifted, right? They want to find the angle of elevation. Is that angle, this angle, which I'm going to call angle 1, or is it this angle, which I'm going to call angle 2? Yep, so they want to find this. So we're finding an angle measure. Are we going to use regular trig functions or inverse? Inverse. So here's my angle. This is what compared to my angle? The 15 is what compared to the angle? Opposite 120 is? Which one uses O and H? So sine inverse of what over what? I'm sorry, 15 over 120. Yep. So let's put that into my calculator. What's the degree of angle of elevation? 7.2 degrees. Could you then find the other angle? Yeah, and then could you then find the length of the base? Yep. Okay, go ahead and try 3 and 4 on your own. 0.5 kilometers from the launch pad, so we have this person, right? He's 4.5 kilometers from the launch pad. Observes the space shuttle ascending at an angle of elevation from the observer to the shuttle is 38 degrees. 38 degrees should go down here, right? We have a 90-degree angle here. How far is the shuttle from the observer? So the shuttle is somewhere up here. I'm not going to try to draw a shuttle because Lord knows what that'll look like. And so we're going to put an X there. Okay? So are we finding a side length or an angle measure? Side length. So inverse or not inverse? Not inverse. So this is adjacent and this is hypotenuse. So which one uses A and H? So we're going to do cosine of how many degrees? Equals what over what? Good. And that's over 1. So I'm going to cross multiply, get x times the cosine of 38 equals 4.5. We want to get x by itself, so what do we have to do now? Divide by the cosine of 38. That cancels. So 4.5 divided by cosine of 38, right? What do you guys get for that? 5.7 meters, right? Or kilometers. Meters would be pretty close. Okay, the length of a wire supporting a radio tower is 175 feet. So we have a radio tower, right? The length of the wire is 175 feet. Here's our 90-degree angle. The angle of elevation to the top of the radio tower from the foot of the wire is 65 degrees. How tall is the radio tower? So we're finding that x. Is this inverse or regular, Trig? Regular. This is opposite. This is hypotenuse. So which one uses O and H? So sine of how many degrees? Equals x over 175, right? Put that over 1. Cross multiply and get 175 times the sine of 65 equals x. What do we get when we do that? What does x equal? Point what? 6. Okay. And that is feet. Questions on those? We okay on angle of elevation? Okay. So, angle of depression on the back. I'm just letting them catch up. This is the angle formed between the horizontal and the line from the object to the observer's eye, which again we call the line of sight. So, from the top of a lighthouse, so we have a lighthouse, bless you. It's not really what that looks like, but that's okay. From the top of the lighthouse, an observer noticed that a boat, so here's a boat in the water, right? There's my beautiful boat. From the top of the lighthouse, an observer notices that a boat and finds the angle of depression to be 12 degrees. So here's where this is a little bit different. So here's the line to the boat, right? Here's my 90-degree angle. We see the right triangle, correct? But when they're talking about that, the person's up here, and it's his original line of sight is right there. Angle of depression would be this right here. That right there is 12 degrees. Okay, does that make sense? Now, here's the thing. If that is 12 degrees, could you find this angle? How many degrees is that angle? What do you say? 78. How many degrees would this angle down here be? 12. So your angle of depression and essentially your angle of elevation are what? The same. Okay? If the boat is 900 feet from the bottom of the lighthouse, what's the height of the lighthouse? So on this one, are we finding a side length or an angle? So trig or inverse trig? Trig. Yep. So here's which angle do you guys want to go off of? The 12 or the 78? Okay, I heard 78 first, so we're going to go off the 78. X is what compared to the 78? 900 is what compared to the 78? Which one uses O and A? So we're going to do tangent of 78 equals O, which is 900, over X, which is A. Put this over 1. You could have gone over off the 12. You still would have used O and A. It would have just been set up a little bit different. Cross multiply, get X times the tangent of 78 equals 900. We want to get X by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by tangent of 78. That cancels over here. So 900 divided by tangent of 78. How many degrees would that be? $191, that sounds better. Yeah. So X equals 191.3, and that's feet. Okay, let's try another one. An angle of depression of a car from a hot air balloon basket. So we have a hot air balloon up here, right? We have a basket that they're in. Down here we have a car. That's my beautiful car. We have a height here, we have a distance here, and we have an angle here, right? 90 degrees. The angle of depression from the hot air balloon basket is 40 degrees. So can I label this guy down here with 40 then also, right? Guys, remember back to parallel lines? What allows me to label both of these with 40 degrees? Yeah, alternate interior angles. Do you guys see those? Yep, there's my transversal alternate interior angles. Good job, guys. Okay, so that's 40 degrees. It's directly over a water tower that's 5 kilometers from the car. So the water tower, the balloon's directly over the water tower, so the water tower must be here. That is 5 kilometers from the car. Find the direct distance from the balloon to the car, so they want the hypotenuse. Okay? So we're going to go off this 40-degree angle down here. The 5 is what compared to that 40? What did you say? I'm sorry. Adjacent. The X is hypotenuse. We're finding a length, so that's regular trig. So which one uses A and H? So we're going to do cosine of how much? Equals what over what? Awesome. Cross multiply. X times the cosine of 40 equals 5. Divide both sides by the cosine of 40. Cancels over here. What do you get when you do 5 divided by the cosine of 40? And that is kilometers. Awesome. Go ahead and try 7 and 8 on your own. So here's what your work and homework is. Yesterday, I essentially opened up 3 assignments. They were actually opened up Friday, but I just asked for you to work on them yesterday. The goal was to get at least 2 of them done, right? If you did not finish that 3rd assignment, go ahead and finish that 3rd assignment in Schoology. And then I also want you to do 7.7, practice C in the supplemental packet. So those 2 things. Any of those 3 assignments that were opened up yesterday that are not finished, you need to finish those and do 7.7 in the supplemental packet. Any questions on that? Again, if you're a little bit behind, that's fine. I'm going to assign more homework tomorrow, but everything is really due on Friday at 7:30.